Good to have you back. Today, we're rethinking what a vacation actually costs. Because sometimes, the numbers tell a very different story than the brochures do. Most travel advice starts with, it depends on your style. That's a dodge. It's an easy answer for people who don't want to look at math. Today, we're treating vacations like a physics problem. This is a ladder. 10 rungs. At the bottom, it's completely free. At the top, it's whatever you're willing to spend. Every number we discuss is per person, flights included, based on a roughly 1-week trip. But here is the pattern you need to watch. Somewhere in the middle of this ladder, price and how amazing the trip actually is stop moving together. They start pulling apart. Let's climb. We start at 0. Explore your own city like a tourist. This sounds like a cop-out entry, but it isn't. Most people who've lived somewhere for years have never actually done the things a visitor would do in the first 48 hours. The highest viewpoint, the oldest neighborhood, the museum 3 blocks from their apartment, they've walked past 200 times. Free and genuinely underused. Rung 2. Tent, a cooler, a tank of gas, a trailhead. This is close enough to be a weekend, not a whole trip, and it's the cheapest way to get somewhere that actually feels like it's not home. Those two are the warm-up. Here's where it gets interesting. Rung 3, Kyrgyzstan. This is the cheapest international destination on the entire list. Flights are the main expense. There aren't many direct routes, so you're usually connecting through Istanbul or the Gulf. Once you land, the math gets almost absurd. A private guide, a horse, a yurt to sleep in, and 3 full meals a day, the whole package, runs about $100 to $150. Not for the week, for the day. The average Broadway ticket this season costs $131. That's roughly what buys you a full day on horseback through the Tian Shan Mountains, guide and meals included, instead of 2 hours in a theater seat. The cheapest international stop on this list is also, by a wide margin, the most dramatic scenery on it. Keep that in your back pocket, we'll come back to it. Rung 4, 3 options, same bracket. At this price point, you've got a genuine choice, and they're nothing alike. Ljubljana, Slovenia, a small, green, walkable capital built around a river with a famous triple bridge, often called the Green Capital of Europe. Everything is close together, almost nothing requires a car. Alentejo, Portugal, wide-open countryside south of Lisbon, home to the world's first UNESCO-backed Starlight Tourism-certified dark sky reserve, and the medieval hill town of Monsaraz, where the streets are basically unchanged from several centuries ago. Kalymnos, Greece, a rugged, whitewashed island in the Aegean, about 40 kilometers from the far more famous Kos. It has the postcard version of a Greek island without Santorini's crowds or Santorini's prices. Same money, 3 completely different vacations. That's the point of this bracket. Rung 5, Umbria, Italy, Tuscany's quieter neighbor. It's the only Italian region with no coastline and no foreign border, which has kept it slower and less discovered. Rolling hills, hilltop towns, a big lake called Trasimeno, and none of the tour bus traffic that Tuscany gets in July. Rung 6, Sardinia and Malta. Sardinia, an island most Europeans already know and most Americans still haven't been to. Water is clear enough that it looks fake in photos, and it isn't. Malta, a small Mediterranean archipelago with a genuinely strange mix of Italian, British, and Arab influences stacked on top of each other, plus new direct flights from the US that only started this year. Rung 7, Turku, Finland, the country's oldest city and former capital, on the southwest coast. Museums, river tours, a real food scene, and a beach holiday somehow packed into the same trip. Rung 8, Biarritz, France, Basque Coast, not the Riviera. Surf culture that's been there since the 1950s, plus some of the best food in France that isn't in Paris or Lyon. Rung 9, Adelaide, Australia. This is the most expensive stop on the list, and here's the interesting part. It isn't because Adelaide itself is expensive to be in. Once you're there, day-to-day costs are fairly reasonable. It's expensive because of the flight. 14+ hours in the air from most of the US just to get there. Adelaide isn't charging you a premium, the Pacific Ocean is. There's actually a decent reason to go anyway beyond the wine country and the coastline. When it's summer where you are, it's winter there. If you're trying to escape the heat instead of chasing it, Adelaide is one of the few places on this list running on the opposite season. No ceiling. Any destination on this list, upgraded. Same country. 5-star version. Private guide instead of a bus tour. A boutique hotel instead of a hostel. Business class instead of the middle seat. The ceiling isn't the place. It's what you're willing to spend once you're there. Why can the same country cost wildly different amounts? Quick detour before we close, because this explains half the variation on this list. 3 things move these numbers more than anything else. Season, how many countries you try to cram into one trip, and how far in advance you book the flight. A place that costs $1, $800 in October can cost $2, $600 in the last week of July, same hotel, same room. Add a second or third country to a 1-week trip, and the transportation costs alone can add several $100s, just from the extra flights or trains between stops. None of that is about the destination being worth more. It's logistics, stacked on top of the sticker price. So here's what the latter actually shows once you look at it all together. The cheapest international stop on this list, Kyrgyzstan, has the most jaw-dropping scenery of anything on it. The most expensive stop, Adelaide, is expensive almost entirely because of how far away it is, not because of what's waiting there once you land. Price and wonder don't move together the way we assume they do. We just default to believing they will. That's the latter. If I handed you $2,000 right now, no strings attached, which rung would you jump onto? Tell me in the comments. I'm Leo, this is Field Notes. See you next time.